Alright, so like all movements and trends and stuff on YouTube go in a bubble, you know, like there'll be a little bit of interest and more interest, then hits a kind of golden age, and then it kind of tapers off, gets boring, gets old, and then everybody moves on, or at least I do. And I think this has happened with veganism now. It's on the VYC, like the videos aren't as good as it used to be. There's not that much good shit being made anymore. All the arguments have been done, all the videos are just, there's not that much original going on. There's a few people doing original shit, but it's just lost its interest a bit. So this might be my last vegan video, especially as I'm not a vegan, so, you know, fuck it. Okay, this is going to be on Slaughterhouse footage, images of cruelty. Okay, so like back when I was on Facebook, I had some people who would be posting images of cruelty, right, on their fucking timelines, whatever, so it would appear on mine. And it wasn't, sorry, these people weren't vegans or fucking out for political change or anything. These were just certain people who would be, one in particular, who was like constantly posting these sort of shock fucking things that do the rounds, right? So there'd be like somebody choking a dog, or appears to be choking a dog in an image, or someone kicking a donkey, or fucking boiling a cat, or fucking whatever, right? Anyway, they would post this, and then there'd be all this like sort of fury in the fucking comments, and people saying, if I caught that guy that kicked that dog or something, I'd pull his eyelids off, and I'd pour salt in his eyes, and then I'd do this, and then I'd break his legs, and or I'd set him on fire, and like, yeah, the descriptions, the revenge fantasies got quite elaborate sometimes, and it was like just 2 minutes hate, basically. It was like just outpouring of fucking rage every time, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on with this shit? Like, so like, I'd say to the person, okay, like, you don't like cruelty to animals, right? So why are you seeking out imagery of cruelty to animals and then sharing it to your fucking friends on your fucking timeline? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, really, what the fuck's going on? And obviously people would get pissed off with that. So I was like, okay, I'll fucking speak my mind. And I was like, well, it seems to me like there's obviously something about the images themselves and or sharing it that's fucking exciting you. That's fucking fascinating you. Like, is it that you enjoy the moral absolute of it, the fact that it's like right, totally wrong, you know? It's like it's total right and total wrong. Is that what like excites you? You know, like it's something you can find that's definitely wrong. Is it the sort of being the conductor of the orchestra of fucking outrage that you get with the comments, you know, like leading the lynch mob? Is that what fucking drives you? Like, what, you know, there's something about this imagery, like that you like in some way, you know, like there's something about this what you're doing, you know, that you seem to be like, because there's something motivating you, right? What the fuck is it? And anyway, that shit didn't go down well, and I can't keep my mouth shut, and eventually I just left Facebook because, you know, like, you can't have people like me on Facebook speaking their mind. It doesn't go down well, you lose friends. So yeah, like, so then eventually, like, I end up fucking stumbling into the VYC because I was going to buy a bamboo bike, right? And I came across Darren Ryder's video about bamboo bikes, and then that's how I came across the VYC. And then I saw like similar shit going on in the VYC, right? Like, people just fucking, some people, right, just like using like really fucking graphic footage, really graphic, violent footage of like cruelty and shit of animals in their videos, and often when it didn't seem to really serve a purpose, and there was no warning, you know, like graphic footage fucking ahead or something, you know, like nothing like that, then you'd see some like really fucking hardcore gruesome shit, right? And so I had like the same questions, like what the fuck is, what's really going on here, right? It's not like, you know, I don't know, it's not to, the idea is that, you know, it's to convert people, you know, they're going to see this imagery and then they're going to be converted, but it's not that, because these people were preaching to the converted, you know, like a lot of these channels weren't reaching out to anyone but their own community, and full of this cruel image, right? This image of violence, and like I had to sort of ask it, like, what's going on with it? It's the same questions I had with the Facebook fix. Like, are the people like addicted to being the orchestra of like outrage? You know, like putting this on and then like reading all the people getting angry, basically having control over other people's emotions. You know, like is that what's attractive about it? Or is it the imagery themselves that they're addicted to, and it arouses them in some way? You know, like, I mean, they're actually getting a fucking kick out of this imagery, and this is why they're fucking into searching for it subconsciously. You know, they think they're putting this imagery out for the animals, but really they're getting like a kind of kick out of it. You know, and then like, what kick is that? Like, is it even perhaps a sexual element to it? And I'm not saying like, you know, the fucking sitting there beating off to a pig getting his head chopped off or something like that, but it's fair to say that like power and demonstrations of power and stuff can be sexual and create sexual arousal in people, right? You know, there's like a power element to sex, right? Just the fucking way it is. Like, we're hardwired for that shit a little bit. And is this like? Because I mean, if you got some fucking cruel fucking imagery or something, like what's happening there is a demonstration of power, right? And does that sort of somehow kind of activate the same circuits that people have, like the same sexual circuits somehow? You know, like that circuitry that's already there, is it somehow like lit up a little bit and aroused a little bit with this fucking cruelty? I mean, like, I can say that there's definite like times when it's proven that there's like a relation with certain people between animal cruelty and sexuality, right? So like, when we've got bestiality stuff is one thing, that could be like more about humiliating the person that's doing it, I don't know. But there's, for instance, okay, like there's this fetish. I don't know if you've heard about it, but there's a big thing on YouTube, because I had some videos of it. Like, it's called trampling, right? And it's like where like a man or woman, you know, like is trampling on fucking frogs or fucking beetles or something like that, right? And then like some people get sexually turned on or something by watching this man or woman, whatever, like being cruel. Okay, so like it is a thing, right, with some people. It might be like a super rare fucking kink, like 0.1% of the population or something, but there is an overlap there. So maybe there's a little bit of an overlap with other people in general, right? Like some kind of, you know, like this cruelty is a little bit sort of arousing for them, and that's a thing. And then it's like I think anything can be addictive, right? Like, you know, you get these people who sort of create drama in their lives all the time, and it could be said that maybe they're kind of chemically and emotionally addicted to that sort of all the chemicals and shit that are released during being angry and being fucking upset, and maybe the body ends up sort of, or subconsciously they end up like putting themselves in situations to feed literally like a cellular level addiction to these fucking emotions that are created from all the drama that they get themselves into. And obviously the same thing, like we say with drugs and shit, and with a lot of addictions, like to get that initial hit, right, you got to up the ante, you got to take more drugs, you got to do more outrageous whatever. And some of this thing with the slaughterhouse footage, I think, could be this sort of chasing that initial hit, right? I'm not talking like a sexual arousal or something, just like the whole emotional fucking reaction that they initially had the first time that they saw slaughterhouse footage. So like that sort of super shocking fucking moment when they first saw like whatever they were shown by another fucking vegan or something, like maybe this like looking for images, like searching for that initial hit. 'Cause, you know, the next fucking pig you see get his head chopped off, it's not going to be quite as much of a shock, you know. It's not going to give it that much of an emotional response as the last one, but like maybe just enough to keep you looking for the next fucking picture of someone fucking chopping a pig's head off or donkey's head off or whatever, and then before you know it, like someone is trawling the internet for like the most cruel imagery they can possibly find, thinking, oh well, I'm doing this so I can put it in a YouTube video, like for the animals, right? And when really like what's going on is some kind of addiction to the imagery, and perhaps they might not want to face up to that. They're getting some kind of arousal from the imagery as well. Okay, like, and what else can I say on it? Yeah, like regarding the sexual aspect, like another thing, this is like the first thing I noticed, the very first thing I noticed when I came across a VYC was in certain females' videos, there was a lot of the use of the word rape. Like, so like on one of them I was like, holy shit, that was fucking unbelievable how many times this fucking woman said rape. I'll have to go back and count. And it was like something like 20 or 30 times in a 5-minute video. And it wasn't just saying rape, it was like rape, like rape. Like they were getting really fucking excited when they were saying it. And like it's fair to say that, like what I was saying about like power and stuff before, like I'm definitely not saying women want to be raped at all, okay? But it's documented fact, right, that like it's very popular fantasy with women. It's like the fantasy of being raped as part of their, I don't know, when they're fucking beating off or whatever, right? So there's a sexual arousal, right, to the idea of being raped a little bit. Although the word itself is gonna have a fucking arousal, right? And that's what I was sitting watching this. I was like, this fucking girl is just going on and on about fucking rape. Like, it's fucking doing it fresh. She's fucking obviously enjoying saying rape, and the fucking reaction like she's getting out of it is like fucking crazy motherfuckers, man. Alright, so basically I've said what I can really say about the Slaughterhouse fucking footage, from where I think it's coming from. And yeah, like as far as like serving a purpose, like I don't think it does much for the vegan fucking movement. To be honest, yeah, I want to say something about the showing other people. So like particularly I got this these cubes of like truth or whatever, right? And there's also just this sort of VYC thing of like just showing other people. Like, okay, so someone I knew, right, female, was at a train station waiting for like a train and shit, having a cup of coffee or tea. Anyway, like this guy comes and sits opposite her on the table, yeah, and he pulls out a porn mag, and then he turns it round so the pictures are the right way up and lays it out so she can see it, and then just like sort of stares, right? It's like that guy is obviously getting something out of like showing her it and seeing her reaction, right? Like that was his fucking thing. He got like a kick out of seeing her reaction to this shocking image, right? Now, like, is some of this what is behind this fascination of showing people in a public place when they're not expecting it images of extreme cruelty? Is some of it like, is there some kind of fucking kick out of like watching someone see this for the first time? It's kind of like you get, I don't know, I've seen it with fucking drug dealers and cokeheads and shit, right? Like they fucking love giving someone their first fucking hit, right? And they love watching this person getting their first hit of fucking coke or whatever, right? Like it's a fucking thing, right? Honestly, if you've ever been in those kind of scenes, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I think maybe what's behind that is that sort of like, it's a way for them to sort of relive their own initial hit. So is some of this like, is some of what's driving, like showing people all this imagery, like you can go, yeah, like, I mean, underneath or behind, or as well as like the political change move idea, is some of it that they're getting to relive that initial hit that they're chasing with this cruel imagery, like via someone else, via watching someone else and their fucking initial shock. Alright, that's it. That's probably on my last fucking vegan video too. And I'll leave you with some stuff that Vegan Cheetah said back in the day when he was back on form about this kind of shit. And best of luck to Vegan Cheetah with his getting over his addictions.
As a drug addict, I know a lot about tolerance. I know what it means to be tolerant to substances. I know what it means to have your tolerance levels rise, and therefore you need more and more and more to produce the same kind of effect, the same kind of feeling. What's going on, everybody? It's Vegan Cheetah. Welcome to my channel. So today I want to talk about a very controversial topic among vegans. I've brought this topic up several times in my live broadcast, and I feel like now is the time to actually discuss it here on the main channel. The topic is, should vegans be using animal slaughterhouse footage in their videos to promote the message? And is using animal slaughterhouse footage even vegan in itself? So I come from a background, as most of you know, I was a former heroin addict. I've been struggling with addiction off and on my whole life. Even now, I still have a very addictive personality. I know what it means to be tolerant, okay? I know what it means to have your level of tolerance rise to the point where you need something bigger and better to get the same effect and to produce what used to give you that effect that you're looking for. If we relate this to animal slaughterhouse footage, I do believe, from personal experience and from what I've heard from my viewers, and there's numerous studies all over the internet to suggest this, that the more and more violent media becomes, the more and more tolerant the masses become to that violence. In other words, if we keep producing very violent graphic content, whether it be in movies, music, video games, television, we can see over the decades that media has actually become more and more violent. Well, people are going to say, why is this? The reason is because the public actually becomes desensitized to the level of violence that they can actually tolerate. Therefore, they need more gunfights, more explosions, more stabbings, more rapes, more violence in general to produce the same shocking effect. Now, if we look at what we as vegans have done here on YouTube, what we have done is created an atmosphere where we are actually desensitizing our viewers to the level of violence they can tolerate every time we use graphic, horrible slaughterhouse footage. These images, within context of themselves, do have a certain amount of value to them. But the way vegans use slaughterhouse footage is almost just to produce a shocking effect. They want people to subscribe to their channel, they want to promote the message, and they want to just promote this idea that you need to see this violent graphic images or you're not going to go vegan unless you do. It's very important to go vegan. You need to watch these horrible slaughterhouse videos, when that simply isn't the case. For myself, I actually was not turned on to veganism from graphic slaughterhouse footage. I was turned on to veganism because of the diet, because of the lifestyle, and then because of the ethical component behind both the diet and the lifestyle without seeing the graphic footage. Every big vegan YouTuber does this. It could be Freely, it could be That Vegan Couple, it could be Bite Size Emily, it could even be Aaron Janice. But all of the big vegan YouTubers exploit animals using graphic, horrible graphic images, videos to spread their message. They're trying to shock the public. But what I don't think any of these people think about is the fact that if you think about it in context of media in general, and if you think about it in context of traditional media, this is why we see more and more violence within the mainstream media and here on social media. Could be movies, could be music, could be video games. Media is becoming more and more violent because the public is simply becoming desensitized to the level of violence it can tolerate. This has negative consequences for the public in general, but I think for us as viewers of vegan content, it has negative consequences for us as well. Think about this. If a content creator is watching this kind of footage over and over and over again, trying to find the most shocking footage to include in their videos, don't you think long term that has some kind of negative psychological consequences on the content creator themselves? And then from the viewer's perspective, if the viewers are constantly seeing animals having their heads chopped off, being abused, having their tails chopped off, being strung up by their hind legs, having their throat slit, don't you think over time this quite possibly could be producing negative consequences for the viewers? And by negative consequences, I'm talking about raising the level of tolerance that the viewers can actually tolerate. Therefore, the footage is going to have to become more and more obscene and violent to produce the same shocking effect. If every single vegan is just spamming the internet with violence, nothing good, nothing positive can come out of this. Now, there's different ways to use it. Yes, some vegans are overusing graphic, horrible images. Some vegans do use it a little bit more mildly, and they at least give a warning, and they sparingly use footage to prove a point or to just show people really what's going on. But that's not what most vegans are doing. Most vegans are overusing these horrible images, and I think for them as content creators are doing severe psychological damage for themselves because they actually have to shift through this kind of content day in and day out to find the most violent, shocking videos that they can include in their YouTube channels. And then also, for the viewers' sake, I think exposing kids, exposing 14, 15, 16-year-old kids to this kind of violence day in and day out, I think it's unethical. I think it's wrong, and I think it should be denounced. Now, the second part of this whole issue is using graphic slaughterhouse footage even vegan? This is the same criticism I have about Bite Size Emily and the friendly activists. You want to use slaughterhouse footage in your videos, you're free to do that, but don't call it activism, okay? You, under the guise of vegan activism, you want to exploit that animal's pain and suffering. You have no emotional attachment to that animal as an individual, and you want to use that footage in your video to grow your YouTube channel and call it vegan activism and call yourself an animal rights activist. What you are is a fucking hack. And my criticism about Bite Size Emily is she has no problem bringing, somebody that has discredited himself as much as Gary Yourofsky has onto her channel, giving him that platform. She has no problem with exploiting the pain and suffering that animals go through by using video footage of it so that she can grow her YouTube channel. Okay, let me give you this scenario. What if I had a YouTube channel and I was campaigning against sexual exploitation of women, or I was campaigning against, rape and just the sexual commodification against women, okay? Let's just say that's what my channel is about. Am I allowed to take video footage of a woman being raped? Am I allowed to take video footage of a woman being exploited in a porn video and put it on my YouTube channel and say that I'm an activist for women and so that I can get more views and, convince more people and shock more people? It's like, we can't do that to a human being. Why should we be able to do that to an animal? Okay, why do you think rape victims on the news remain anonymous? You can't see their picture and they don't give their names. It's to protect the victim. By you exploiting, and I'm talking to Bite Size Emily, friendly activists, and anybody else that's ever done this. I've done it myself, and it's wrong. For you to use footage, sorry, my nose itches. For you to use footage and exploit that animal's pain, that animal's suffering, you have no emotional attachment to those individuals, and use that on your channel so that you can grow your channel and call that activism is fucking pathetic. Bite Size Emily, your videos are fucking pathetic, and friendly activists, your videos are fucking pathetic because you exploit the pain and suffering of animals to further your own personal gains, be it money, YouTube success, whatever you want to call it, your image as a vegan activist. You're not a fucking vegan activist if you're on YouTube using graphic footage in the name of shocking people just to try to get a vegan message across.
The reason why they want videos of ours on YouTube to have that is they believe that's the best way to shock people, to really get them to wake up. And actually, there's been research that shows that might not be the best way. Yeah, some people are attracted to this. In fact, this study here of former vegans and vegetarians, the #1 reason why they would consider going back is health. 3 out of 4 people are looking at health as their #1 reason, while a little less than 4 in 10 cite animal protection.
So I'll give credit where credit's due. I think Ryan brought up a very valid point here, and I do salute you for that, happy, healthy vegan. But I would have to agree here that showing violent graphic footage is not the route we want to go anymore, because we've seen from Freely's videos, Bite Size Emily's videos, and a lot of other YouTubers, Sorcerer Morava, Vegan Gains. I think this only makes people angry, and what you're doing in the name of vegan activism is you're exploiting another animal's pain and suffering, and they cannot consent to you using that footage, okay? If you're not going to exploit them by eating their flesh, why are you going to exploit them by showing that graphic footage? Okay? If people want to get into that themselves, fine. But to spread that kind of propaganda just so that you can get a few more hits on your YouTube channel and validate your fucking reasons that you're the most effective vegan activist, I think it's wrong. And I think it's a real issue that vegans don't want to really take a look at. Because I can't do that to a human being. I can't take footage of a woman being raped or of somebody being murdered and use that on my YouTube channel. Okay? If we can't do that to a human being, why should we be able to do that to an animal? You claim, all you fucking vegans out there, you fucking Adelaide Raw Till 4 dick riders, claim that you're a vegan activist and that you don't want to exploit animals. Yet what are you doing when you show graphic footage like that in the name of shocking people? You make people angry, you make people uncomfortable, and it makes you look pathetic and it makes you look like a fucking hypocrite. Why doesn't anybody see this? I'm not a hypocrite. It says in my description on every single one of my videos, remember, I'm a social media personality, not an activist, okay? Any activism that I do will take place offline. This is to raise my social media profile. It's the same thing with everybody else. It's just everybody else doesn't want to admit that. They want to pretend or just keep perpetuating the delusion that they're vegan activists when really all they are is thirsty fame whores, social media personalities. They're chasing fame, celebrity, and money. Same thing with Happy Healthy Vegan. They love this shit, you know, but they would like to sit there and lie to their viewers and tell them that they're making this huge difference, that they're saving the world, I'm so sick of the cliches, man. You know, it's like every fucking vegan on here that has followed in the footsteps of Freely Enduring Rider wants to sit on camera and say, save the world, save the animals, save your health. And when in reality, all they're doing is raising their social media profile.